What's going on, everybody? Everybody out there in podcast land, this is the G-Man, not in the Matterhorn studio today. We had a little impromptu remote requested by the beautiful Kel. All right, so what are you doing? You told me there's a garage sale coming up that you're prepping for.
It's the biggest little garage sale is back. We did this.
I may want to throw some things in there.
Yeah. This is amazing. It's put on by Cumulus, who is cable, KOH, those great stations, 95.5 The Vibe. And they did this last year. It was later in the summer, so they're doing it earlier this year. Maybe we'll do two. That would be really cool. And it's all day. It's from 10 to 4, I believe, on Saturday, April 25th at the Livestock Event Center.
Wow.
It's $3 to get in, free parking, and like hundreds of vendors. And it's all the stuff I have is basically new. It's pretty much brand new.
Are you doing this by yourself, or did you throw in with a little community?
I have a friend, my friend Marsha, Jenny Pez Dispenser's mom, is taking the booth next to me, and then my friend Carrie Hart and her son are going to help me. So this is going to be fun. It was a blast last year. It really was. The problem is I was out of town all last week. And now I'm like super time compressed. I have like nothing ready and everything's all stuck away in my second bedroom. So I have to like bring everything out because it's all mixed in with stuff I'm keeping, stuff I need to get rid of, and I got to figure out what's what.
Well, we didn't have a podcast episode last week. Of course, at my request that time, I was just so far behind on a few things. I needed to get caught up. And so I feel you on that. So, but we wanted to throw down for today and have things lagged too much. So last week we talked about what's the matter with copycats. Mm-hmm. And so in episode 46 today, we're going to be talking about what's the matter with breakdowns. Now, when I originally say that, Kel, what do you think when somebody says, I had a breakdown?
My car. I think car. Because both of mine are down right now.
Especially like last week, you referenced, dude, you stole my car.
Right.
I think it was 2 weeks ago. I think in last episode.
Yeah. But I'm having problems both of my vehicles right now. It's not cool.
We just had a water pump.
Oh God,
$1,200.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's what I said. Like
seriously,
man, that's a good hit right there. They're so expensive, but you got to have them.
Freaking expensive.
You got to have your wheels.
I have an extended warranty on both of mine. But the mechanic I used screwed it up and told him it was actually an aftermarket problem, so they won't cover it. Instead of just telling him it was an electrical issue, he told him what the specific problem was, that somebody else had installed shit and it picked up my horn. So that got screwed up.
There's horror stories. But you're right, though. I think, probably survey says if we're on the Family Feud, probably the number one answer when the word breakdown, what do you think it normally is, right? And so I would agree.
Cars or mental emotion.
Well, and that's another one that we'll kind of talk about, not dive too deep down that rabbit hole, but it's definitely a reference.
The whole show in itself.
Yeah. But before we get too far in, I want to, again, give everybody a due shout out. Thank you to the sponsor of the show, World Matters Incorporated, the creator and producer of the show, Big Bongo Productions. And of course, there's shout outs that we'll probably do during the show. But that being said, as you guys can see that we are now incorporating video, although it may not be the best studio output right now, just to dust off some things and check out some of the systematic requirements, troubleshooting, working out bugs, things like that. Kel knows about working out bugs in the tech side of things. So, but in episode 46, what's the matter with breakdowns? Kind of want to pose, I was thinking about what's the thing we kind of like want to focus on. We'll go all over the place, but Kel, what I wanted to really, I guess, kind of gravitate towards, let's put it like that, is the part of where you have a breakdown. It doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Uh-huh. And one of the most useful things I think at different times in our life is break down things to identify what your identity is, right? Mm-hmm. And so we'll talk about that a little bit. And we'll talk about boundaries. We always talk about those different signals to recognize when you shouldn't or should do something. Anyway, the thing I want to focus on is really thinking about a breakdown instead of it being like a car breakdown. We'll talk about being this identity reset, but it's in disguise. I have a little tagline or a quote here: breakdowns aren't always weakness. Sometimes they're your life sending the only message that you refused to read. And we talk about Johari's window, and I love discussions about blind spots. We all have them, myself included, for sure. As we normally do, let's kind of break down the spectrum, the breakdown spectrum, so to speak. And you referenced it, first of all, but the emotional breakdown, having a meltdown. Why do you think those situations happen in general, where you just melt down?
Oh,
all kinds of different circumstances, but what's the basic psychology that's going on?
It's really basic physiology that starts it. It's fight or flight, and it's a dysregulated nervous system reaction that causes the mental spiral. Your body gets out of whack, and then it's sending off all these, chemicals and hormones and, all this stuff that's getting you ready to fight the bear or run from the tiger. And, here we are in traffic. You're stuck in traffic and you're mad and you can't go anywhere and you're trapped and you can't do anything. Your body is still reacting, and there, you can't let that energy out. It's building up all this excess energy that because it's expecting you to run or do something, catastrophically physical. And here you are just sitting there, just getting madder and madder and madder and madder, building up more energy, more chemicals, more, and your body doesn't know what to do with it. So we stuff it down and suppress it, and it starts to show itself in other symptoms.
I think the key word that I have written down that you kind of got that last part there, something's going on that is overwhelming. You're overwhelmed when you have this emotional breakdown, whether it's at work, in the car, in front of your spouse, kids. Those things happen sometimes, right? Okay, so moving on to another type of breakdown, let's talk about the dynamics to when you have a burnout breakdown.
Right.
Burnout,
and that's,
all kinds of different
the next
things.
step after overwhelm. If you don't deal with the overwhelm, it turns into burnout.
Yes, and I have kind of this,
thing.
and I kind of have these little, I guess, adjectives, descriptive references to like a burnout breakdown. I kind of think that you get to this numbness, right? You're just numb, kind of foggy.
Yeah.
You're just
apathetic. You don't give a shit. You're like, whatever, fuck it.
Yeah. You're just kind of like, I'm over it. So, of course, there's a relationship breakdown.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And again, this doesn't always have to be bad, which in the moment, of course, it's sometimes difficult for it not to be construed as bad, because if you're arguing, goodness, if you're, yelling at each other and stuff like that. And remember, neighbors can hear,
Right. Especially in a
you
condo
yell
complex.
Oh yeah. You yell too loud and too long, they'll call the cops.
Right.
And so then you got some explaining to do, Lucy. So relationship breakdown, the things I kind of think about with that is it's about sometimes trust, but the main thing, right, is about communication. It's about how you communicate with each other. And we're all human. Sometimes you owe the other person an apology because of maybe just flying off the handle or something, but we talk about owning things all the time. But what do you think about that as far as relationships, that breakdown of it often coming down to trust and communication?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, relationship breakdowns are created by other breakdowns first, like communication breakdown, connection breakdown. There's other things that happen first before the relationship itself breaks down. And if you don't deal with those, that's what happens. You get to this point of just where you're head to head and you're resentful, and it's debatable whether if you want to fix it. I mean, conceptually you do, but in the moment you're just like, pfft.
Yeah.
You get
I'll
rooted
leave it
in
on
your
the couch.
position. Yeah, exactly. And then you get into it.
And again, that's okay. It's better to kind of separate than again to do or say something that you regret later. Hey, I just needed my space. It's not like I fell out of love with you in 5 minutes.
And you can communicate through that. You can say, look, I need to take a break right now. I will be back, and we can continue this in half an hour.
Yeah, which can be frustrating too. We talked about that because you get down to the deep conversation. And I've had, again, debates with my wives that's lasted a couple hours. And so general thing is don't go to bed mad, but sometimes you can't settle them in those 2 hours. So there's no one right answer to that. But the point is, it's not necessarily a bad thing when there's a breakdown in the relationship.
No, sometimes it has to happen.
And that's the point of today's conversation.
I was going to say, it's like the caterpillar has to break down to become a butterfly.
Ooh.
Caterpillars turn into complete mush in that cocoon.
I like that.
They literally dematerialize and reform as a butterfly. And that's pure breakdown.
That's beautiful. It's a beautiful correlation. So let's see. Work breakdown. Sometimes there's a breakdown at work. It can be a performance-based type of breakdown.
Process breakdown, structure breakdown.
Resignation, right? And instead of quiet quitting, you're like, I'm immediately quitting right now.
You're explosively quitting. I'm the fuck out of here. I'm as mad as hell and I'm not taking it anymore.
And of course, I think most people live through this. There's financial breakdowns where just like, hey, we can't keep doing this. We got to make changes, or you're breaking down your budget, planning for trips in the future. So there's a different couple applications for the breakdown. I guess the thing that we would focus on today is when there's a panic, right? There's a panic. Oh my gosh, we need, to pay for this upcoming surgery. We have no money, or some sort of medical emergency. You talked about car problems. Sometimes those came at the worst times, right? And then there's a component that I think, of course, is real with people, and that's in the financial breakdown. There's an avoidance, right? Shit's going wrong, and you should make a phone call to, get things out on the table early. And it's, I don't want to make that phone call. You just push it to the back burner. And so there's a lot of nuances in financial breakdowns. Mm-hmm. So another breakdown, I have three actually, is a health breakdown, right? But we talk about the importance of sleep, avoiding stress, symptoms, not just physical symptoms, but mental type of symptoms. So, and those correlate mind, body, and soul, all in our health concoction. Sometimes there's a systems breakdown.
Yes.
I forgot about that appointment. I'm so sorry. I didn't put that in my calendar. Just like, I had to drive 2 hours. Oh, I'll be right there. So some sort of, I used a calendar example, but something, again, I'm a big believer in having systems together, not to the extent. My wife is telling me the other day, those commercials, Becoming Your Parents. Mm-hmm. She's on me about that. I'm just innocently driving around, making commentary about observations that I see out in public. And oh my God, she is like cracking up lately.
That's funny.
What was an example? I said something back to back. So she's already laughing about the reference to the commercial. And there's this guy that's using the crosswalk and he's jogging across. Uh-huh. And then now there's a man that knows how to do it. That's kind of how I do it. If I'm causing traffic to stop or slow down, I kind of hurry across. So
I run like I do too, and I'm thanking people. I'm waving on both sides, like sorry. I can't stand it. And then you get those assholes that like saunter across, looking at their phone.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Oh, I can't shit.
That says something about you.
It said fuck up other people's day. That's sad. It's so sad.
And I'm so old. I'm 5 years old. We lived 2 blocks from the elementary school, so I had to walk to school.
I did too.
And Grandma teaching me, and these are dirt roads. She's teaching me how to cross
uphill both ways
road.
In the snow.
Do not cross the road until there's no traffic coming from both ways.
Yep.
Both ways. Now, these laws that have been made around here and other places where the pedestrians have the quote right of way, they don't have the right of way to physics. They don't.
No,
I called that.
I may be going to court. You're going out in a coffin. Don't fuck with me. People in parking lots.
There's a couple of pedestrian accidents lately in the last couple of weeks. One fatality, and they were drinking, crossing the road, not even in the crosswalks. And so the driver stopped. It was at nighttime. Everybody thought everybody had crossed, and the person that he ran over had fallen in the road from being too intoxicated. He thought everybody crossed, and so he did a speed bump over this person, went to the hospital, and passed away from their injuries. Now that's, to me, speaking about breakdowns, That's a breakdown in logic where right when these laws passed, driving down University by the college, and I'd see the students, they would just come straight from a sidewalk and their faces down, they're looking at the phone, listening to their beats or whatever, and they don't even look. Or if they glance, they're already a couple steps in and they have kind of wherewithal to look and be able to stop if they have to. But why did we start talking about that? Was it there's some sort of
Structural breakdown of like just process and procedure.
Yes. And then the last thing I pointed out, there's an identity breakdown where you have this, what's the meaning of life crisis, like
Been there,
for
done that.
yourself.
What's my purpose? What's the point?
So that's
What's
what
any of this about?
are things that we want to discuss that most breakdowns, they kind of look like one thing, Cal, but in actuality, they end up being really about another thing. So I have down here, identity breakdowns often show up wearing other costumes. Remember, we talked about being copycats?
Yes.
So they kind of come in disguise under anger, exhaustion, quitting, withdrawing. So reframing the term breakdown is what our goal is today. So I'm not talking about necessarily falling apart. I'm talking about breaking things down. And sometimes your system that you can put in place, we'll have a little toolbox as we normally do. Your system is enforcing limits that you sometimes avoid, right? If you have things together as far as setting things up. And especially we're always evolving and changing in life. And I mean, take an age, 15, you're going to be a different person at 35 than you were 15.
Absolutely.
Right?
Not everybody, but yeah, that's the plan.
But the reason that we always continually want to break things down throughout our life is because sometimes the old you can't carry the new life that you want.
Right.
And so you got to break things down.
Containment issue. Yep.
So outside of, with everything that I've laid out, what are your thoughts?
To me, breakdown in a lot of cases, it's not something that anybody ever wishes for or plans to do. But like we said, sometimes it is absolutely necessary for whatever you're doing to break down. The hardest way I learned this was when I was in corporate IT at CompUSA, and we were doing it was a company-wide internal software development and rollout. It wasn't my silo doing it. We had multiple silos of application development for different parts of the company, and this was run by a different division and a different manager, but we were involved, all of us, and the manager of it was failing. His piece of it was failing miserably, and it was affecting the rest of the project. And I'm juggling plates, spinning balls. I'm going crazy, doing everything I can for our silo to make sure it would work. And my boss sat me down and said, "Let it break. Let it break." And
Why do you think he said that?
Because it needed to expose this manager. It was getting covered up. There were multiple of us scrambling to try and save the thing. We saw what was happening, and we were just running around going nuts. And Bobby said, "Let it break." And I'm thinking that blowback is going to come on us, and we're going to get fired. And this and that. He said, "I will take the heat for this. I am prepared. I know I have receipts." We didn't use the word back then, documentation, but basically I have everything that's going to sink this guy, and he needs to. He's not going to get fired either, but this has been going on for too long. He's got too much authority without the capability to back it up, and we need this to be exposed. And I said, okay. And it was hard. It was really, really hard. And it did. It broke, and Bob got called on the carpet. What it did was it enabled us to implement the correct process and procedures with the correct exposure, communication, visibility to things that he was able, the way he had it set up, to keep covered.
How did that person take it?
It was painful. It was hard to watch because, so many of us knew what was coming and he didn't. And it all got exposed in a big department meeting where it came his turn to give his part of the,
Kind of like a trial.
Sorta. It was, he had to deliver his part of the project plan and what happened with it. All the rest of us are going, yep, we were there. We had it on time. We had this, we did that. And he goes, yeah, we didn't make it. And of course we all knew because it was a ripple effect. And our CIO was a woman and she was great, but it was almost like mom and a little boy. It was painful. Like she's yelling and he's just sitting there. He looked like, we called him the walrus. He looked like a walrus. And I loved him. Bob was a great guy, but this particular thing was bad. And he did talk about a blind spot. He had a corruption blind spot where he was able to be manipulated by people around him that he was actually responsible for.
How old was this person at the time?
At the time, probably 40s. Probably he looked like, thinking about it, I probably thought he was in his 60s, but he was probably in his mid 40s at the time.
Did he like have a little breakdown in front of you guys? Like, was it just facial? He didn't start crying, did he?
He kept it, we knew, but he kept it contained because he knew he was wrong. He had no defense. So there was no pointing fingers. There was no.
Some humble pie.
Definitely some humble pie. And
did he continue working there?
Oh gosh, like I said, he was the only one who didn't really know we were onto it because we knew this had to happen.
And that's the point, was that, again, in the moment, breaking things down or having a breakdown or having somebody force you to break something down isn't always the most pleasant experience.
Dollars, and I mean, we recovered, but that was tough.
I'm surprised that you didn't come up with this, but another breakdown that I didn't mention, but it's definitely part of our culture, is music. Break it down. Gosh. How many song references?
Break down, break dance, break down, break down to the verse, break down.
As a performer, that's an easy tagline. Turn around to the band. Break it down.
Break it down.
I love it. I love it. There we are again. Well, yeah, at the end of the first segment, I was wondering how we're going to do the Laughing Crickets about breakdowns today. So we talked about some of the things that I'll allude to in the next one because it's a setting where there's some little counseling going on between a couple. But the first one, let's talk about an animal. We're going to go to Disneyland in a way, just in the pretend standpoint, or think about a cartoon or something like that, because the story's about this penguin. Do you like penguins?
I love penguins.
Oh, cool. Okay, so I think you're going to like this one then. This penguin, this dude is driving a car on vacation. So he's going on through Arizona, and he notices that his oil pressure light is on. Okay. Right? Talk about car breakdowns. That's why I got this joke here, because it's about a breakdown. So he gets out, sees oil dripping out of his motor. So he drives to the nearest center of town and goes to a gas station, right? Drops off the car. And he has some time to kill. Obviously, it takes a little while. So the penguin, he goes around town for a walk, sees an ice cream shop, and he's a penguin. He's in Arizona. Man, that's going to really hit the spot. So he decides to go ahead and get an ice cream. He gets the biggest dish of ice cream that he can and sits down, eats it. Penguins, right? Do penguins have hands? Cal?
No, they have wings. They have
Are you paying attention? Are you paying attention?
I'm trying to figure out the live chat on the YouTube.
Stop it. This is important. Man, I'm going to have you repeat the joke back to me. What did you miss? Where's the penguin at right now? Huh?
Does he have hands?
Well, but where's he at then?
Oh, I don't know. Where is he?
He's in an ice cream shop.
Oh, right. He's eating. Oh, right. That's right. The ice cream. Got it.
Important, Cal.
Okay.
Focus.
Okay.
So now, he sits down and he eats this thing of ice cream. Of course, having no hands, he makes a mess, right? Trying to eat because he's just got flippers. So yeah. So he finishes some way, he finishes this ice cream and he goes back to the gas station and he's asking the mechanic, so, hey, did you find the problem? And the mechanic looks up and he says, it looks like you blew a seal. Penguin snaps back, oh, no, it's just ice cream.
That's a cute one. That's very cute.
I thought so.
I like that. Dirty.
Slightly dirty.
I double entendre. I really do.
Oh, the married couple, 35 years of marriage, right? I never made it that far. I made it to like 20, and then I'm on 23 now. But 35, that's up there. Love warriors. But as we talked about, break things down every once in a while. These guys weren't getting along. So they did the responsible thing after 35 years, and they're going to go get some counseling, Kel. Now, when they were asked with the therapist, they asked what the problem was. And as you can imagine, I don't know why I say that, but the wife, she goes into this tirade listing every problem that they ever had under the sun. Everything. All the years they've been on and on and on. Neglect, lack of intimacy, emptiness, loneliness, feeling unloved and unlovable. Yep. An entire laundry list. You get my meaning?
Yes.
Just all these unmet needs that she endured. 35 years. So finally, after she completely unloaded herself, the therapist gets up, walks around the desk, and after asking the wife to stand up, he embraces her and kisses her long and passionately as the husband watched. He was watching. And the woman quietly sat down all dazed and confused, right? And the therapist turned to the husband calmly and says, "This is what your wife needs at least 3 times a week. Can you do that?" The husband goes, "Well, I can drop her off here on Mondays and Wednesdays, but on Fridays I got golf."
Oh, you have got to be kidding me.
Now,
Too true.
in that situation, now, can't you agree that, I mean, this man was obviously doing the best that he can.
Or not.
Oh, one more. Call this one tractor therapy. So we're in therapy again. I got to get my country. I don't know how I'm going to do this. Because this guy's name, the first guy that I'm going to talk about, his name's Cletus. Okay. So Cletus, so thinks what? The South, right? So
Yeah,
deep
country.
South. Okay. Yeah. Country. So Cletus, he's passing by his buddy Billy Bob.
Okay.
Right.
Cletus and Billy.
Cletus and Billy Bob. So if you feel me,
I feel
so
you.
they both,
Deliverance.
yeah, they're both friends. So Cletus doesn't know Billy Bob's coming by. He goes by the hay barn looking for him one day when he looks through the gap in the door and he sees Billy Bob doing a slow and sensual striptease in front of this old green John Deere tractor. Oh, yeah. He's just like looking through the cracks and everything, right? Saying, "Look at this." Anyway, it was hilarious, right? Because Billy Bob, his buttocks are all clenched up and he performs this slow pirouette and gently slides off the first or the right strap of his overalls, and then it's followed by the left strap. I mean, he's into it, right?
Okay.
Then Cletus can't believe it. And then Billy Bob hunches his shoulders forward, like Patrick Swayze in a classic striptease move. Lets his overalls fall down to his hips, and then it revealed this torn frayed plaid shirt. And then he grabs both sides of the shirt, rips it apart to reveal this stained ass t-shirt underneath. And so his final flourish, he tears the t-shirt from his body and hurls his baseball cap into this pile of hay. Now, Cletus, he's seen enough. He goes in and says, "What the heck are you doing, Billy Bob?" "Jeez, Cletus, you scared the bejesus out of me," Billy Bob says. He's all embarrassed. He goes, "But hey, here's the deal. Me and the old lady, we've been having trouble lately. Going to counselors and stuff in the bedroom department, and this all therapist suggested I do something sexy to a tractor."
Her.
A tractor, yeah. To a tractor. I mean, you can see that happening.
Absolutely. That's the scary part. I can believe that.
Classic misunderstanding.
West Virginia, Alabama, Mississippi.
All right, that's enough.
That was good.
At 3. So did I do a good job
Yes,
weaving
those were great.
breakdowns, in there? And so, no, now here's the thing. When breakdowns happen, now why can't it be strong people too?
Oh,
Because
absolutely.
you're always
it is.
taught, hey,
We just cover it up better.
you got to stay strong. Real men don't cry. But the notion that strong people don't break down, that's a lie.
That's bull. Yeah.
That's a lie.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, a small percentage. We just don't see it. I guess that's the point, is that we
all do.
want to be able to control how and when we break down. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Or at least the visibility of it. If you can't control the timing, at least who sees it and how.
We definitely want to kill that myth that strong people don't break down, because
absolutely.
they do.
I think
they
that's
should.
pretty well debunked. Like
Yeah.
we've had Oprah has come out. I mean, we've had some big people come out and tell their real stories.
Man, why are you bringing up Oprah? No, I'm just kidding.
Tony Robbins, all of them, all of The big name, strong people that we know in this world, every single one of them has a massive story that most people don't know.
Do you think that those strong people actually notice signals earlier than average people?
Absolutely we do, but we ignore them. We cover them up, push them down, ignore them. I got this.
Mm-hmm.
And then they build up. We can handle one, and then the second one happens, and we're pushing that, and then the third one, and we're pushing that, and you get this snowball. You may not see the snowball right away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you see little pieces, and you handle them as one-offs, and keep handling them, and serving them back, and playing tennis, and then it just gets to be too much.
So that makes me think of this. So let's say you're a strong person, and if when these signals come in and you just push them down, you deal with them, push them down. And so there's a tendency that muscle memory, you're building them up. And so over time you become stronger and you become less vulnerable,
more resilient,
to things that can make you break down. Now, my question though is there a potential that if you are continually doing that, pushing it down, getting stronger, getting more resilient, would that also lend you to being more insensitive to when others break down?
Absolutely can. Because you get to a point where you're like, look, I have dealt with this and much more many times. Buck up, buttercup.
And that's the thing. What if the person is at that time, they're needing that soft shoulder?
Sure,
but
sure.
you become so rigid in your... I think we live with that too.
That's when you really need to use your discernment and feel like if I go softer with this person, can they take that as support, not victimization, not use it as more victim juice, and then try and extract more. That's my tap dance with that, because I can go either way. I can always see the full 360 of somebody's situation, and I have to decide in the moment with my response whether it's going to be soft, neutral, or a little insistent, which may come off to them as insensitive or harsher if they're looking for more of a victim acknowledgement thing. I never want to enable somebody to victimize themselves. And there's a lot of that right now. A lot of people are just in victim mode.
It's just different dynamics. It isn't an exact science. There's a blend of maturity, experience,
emotional intelligence,
empathy. Yes, exactly.
Experience.
Because there's also times where, whether you're a strong, weak, or average person, there's times where a person should actually ask for help a little bit sooner.
Absolutely. And for strong people, that can be really hard. We're used to being the ones people go to when they need help.
Exactly.
So when we need help, who do we go to? We often don't have somebody necessarily above us or that has more experience than us to approach. That's why I think it's important that people like us, coaches, mentors, managers, leaders, have their own mentors and coaches and leaders, even if it's each other. It's important because of the blind spots to have people you trust around you that can call you on your bullshit and that are strong enough to call you on your bullshit and are willing, when I'm in the middle of some rant, to go, all right, Cal, I've had enough. And then I'll go, oh, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very easy to break down, but it doesn't seem that way, especially if you don't know me and haven't tried it before. But
yeah,
I can go off, and I'm never, ever aimed at the person, but I can sound angry, and if somebody can't handle it.
Well, just so you know, I'm not going to be out and out confrontational. I normally rely on a little bit of facetiousness.
Right. And however you have to do it, I can usually recognize in the moment that, okay, I'm being a little too much here.
Just know I always love you.
Oh, and vice versa. And I appreciate.
Strong people notice signal signs a little bit earlier, I should say. Anybody can, I guess, take the notion, or not the notion, but the point of, like, look for ways to ask for help sooner. It doesn't always have to be your immediate family.
Oh, first.
Yes, because they have their kind of prejudgments and they just think they know everything about you.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of advantages to being able to talk to a sincere stranger,
Yeah,
especially
disinterested third party or just
especially a professional, a good professional. Again, but like Kel said, somebody that has no skin in the game, no win or lose, no matter what. It's just pure, unfiltered, caring.
This is what I see.
Yes. Yep. And so, what does the term toxic positivity mean to you?
Toxic positivity. This is significant to me because in the New Age spiritual community that I live in, there is a shitload of that. We call it the love and the light,
Mm-hmm.
and you get all these people running around deluding themselves that by being in this community, all people are going to be nice, and all the people in this community are all on the same page, and we're all on the same mission, and all trying to spread love and light around the world, and that everybody should feel that way, and that eventually we're going to hit some tipping point where all of humanity gets on the same page and realizes that love and light is the only way. It's a delusion. This construct is not built that way, and it's not supposed to be. We're not all supposed to be on the same page. Now, we can be all working to improve things in different ways and for different reasons, but ultimately, we are never going to get 8.2 billion people all moving the same direction, thinking the same general thing. And toxic positivity is basically planting flowers over weeds and not dealing with the real root issues that are going on as they're developing and festering underneath.
Is that kind of like sugar coating?
Sugar coating, absolutely. All that is toxic positivity. Any kind of glossing over something for the sake of making people comfortable, but not fixing the root cause, the root problem. If you want to think about it, pharmaceuticals are toxic positivity because all they do is treat the symptoms. They're not looking for cures.
So basically what it is, it's all the flowery stuff to make a person feel better about something, but there's no practical solutions that are offered in the end.
Right.
Whereas again, what I was taught, anytime you have to deliver some bad news is you start with something good, give them the crap in the middle, and then offer some hope in the end by giving them some solutions. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but this could be a solution. Offer something instead of just,
hey, look, you're a piece of crap,
or poo-poo, yeah, exactly. So a little bit later, I have this little dashboard that I put together, just like your car.
I see what you did there.
And so this is where people are going to be ignoring these proverbial warning lights. And then you act all surprised and shocked when your engine
the car doesn't run, right? That was divorce came out of nowhere. Everything was fine.
My God, we're watching this little episode of this series called Hijack.
Hijack.
So somebody Hijack.
Oh, it's
just pretty good. Yeah, it's like two seasons. It wasn't bad. So this computer person, like her boss, and they're like doing some technical stuff and troubleshooting and whatnot. And then he kind of like, you have over 12,000 emails? And she's like, I have a system.
What's the system? You don't read them?
It reminded me because I have this thing written down as far as like avoiding things and ignoring things. If I don't open the email, it's not real.
Right. I have 43,876.
You do?
Yep.
Oh my gosh. If I ever start approaching 100, man, I'm freaking out.
Like 300 a day.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Crazy. I will never do that.
Ridiculous.
There's no way. Now, under this avoidance stuff too, let's talk just comment on it. Do you know people that do this? I know I do. Is when they're offered help, right? There's no, I don't need any help. I'll do it all. And then they resent people for it.
Right. I had to do this all by myself, and nobody ever helps me. I can do that.
Build this link account to be able to complain about or to call out if you kind of like need a little collateral. If somebody's calling you out for something. And did you ever read the book 48 Laws of Power?
No, but I need to.
That's one of the things that it points out is that recognize people that do that type of thing. Or here's another example. They'll do, right? No, you don't ask for anything, but they just do. They just give it to you. give it to you, give
I
it
used
to you,
to do
give it
that
to you.
too.
And then when they ask you to do something that for whatever reason you can't do, oh shit,
Yeah.
they break that out. I've done this and this and this. I can't believe I asked one thing out of you when all the things that they volunteered to do for you, you never even asked for. So you people know who I'm talking about.
My mother used to do that shit.
I hate that. I hate that. Here's the thing, though. Most people, they don't know, most people, unless they're sociopath, don't know. We all have a need of being belonging.
Right.
We all want to be loved and appreciated. Some people have this little conniving way of going about things.
Manipulative.
Manipulative. What do you think about people that confuse suffering with virtue? Like kind of like what I was just talking about.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that's bad too. That's martyrdom.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's definitely under
I do
martyrdom.
this so much for so many people. Nobody. That's a covert narcissist thing too. That's a big trait of that. Is overgiving, people pleasing, and expecting. In your mind, you're building bank accounts and making deposits in other people's accounts, waiting in case of that day when you finally need something. But you've never asked for anything from people. You've just given. And then when they refuse, you're like, what the fuck? Like, seriously?
And again, we're not truly, again, trying to roast people, especially, I'm not roasting anybody in specific. Just call out different types of human behavior. And if you listen to this or if you observe people doing this, just kind of like life tools, double meaning there.
Yep. Yeah, right.
What about this one? Toxic positivity. Somebody that uses the term, you know what? You should just find things to be grateful for.
Oh, yes.
That's good advice, right? You should be finding things to be grateful for. But in the case where if you're complaining, there's an issue, you're breaking things down for them, why something's not going to work. And hey, you know what? You should just be grateful that you have a job. That's a phrase they use in order to skip reality. Let's just hop right over this. Okay, so you should be thankful. I don't want to talk about this for whatever reason, or we shouldn't talk about this for whatever reason.
Yep.
That's a toxic positivity.
And it's also a thought-stopping comment. It just kind of shuts off the conversation right there.
I have somebody very, very close in my life that his entire life he's been like this, and I've known him a very long time. I'm not going to mention who it is, but this next one of toxic positivity, you talked about strong people pushing it down. It's not worth it. Not my circus, not my monkey, but it's still being stuffed down. It's not like it can pass through your intestines or anything, right? So it's kind of sticks around there. Yeah. And so toxic positivity in this vein, Kel, what do you think about this? Where a person that suppresses their emotions all the time until they explode.
Right.
That is another example, kind of unusual example of toxic positivity. You wouldn't really think about that.
In a way.
It is. So the point is, again, we talk about different time boundaries, appropriately asserting yourself. We give you guys scripts sometimes, how to deal with people in situations. So
calling it out.
You always want to watch.
Kind of like Chase Hughes has good techniques for this, where it's like, I know you're not the kind of person that would try to intentionally embarrass somebody. Is this what you meant by that? Ways to call people out without nailing them.
Well, and you're putting that bar in there.
Letting them know that you recognize that they're pulling some bullshit, but you want to give them an out, that golden bridge, he calls it.
Right. I love stuff like that.
Yeah, I do too.
Love stuff like that.
It's hard to do in the moment, though, especially when you know it as a technique and you're like, oh, everybody's going to see what I'm doing. But very few people know about this stuff.
Exactly. So you ready for this dashboard?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Something we're very something we're very familiar with, right? Check engine light.
Yep. I have mine's on right now in the Challenger.
A low fuel light.
Yep.
Okay. The overheating light.
Indicators, signals.
Yep. Temperature light, right? Brake warning light, and the oil pressure.
For sensors.
Right. So those 5: check engine, low fuel, overheating, brake warning, and oil pressure.
You know what this sounds like? This sounds like ITIL, the IT Infrastructure Library Training. Almost identical to this. Yes, I went through that 30 years ago. It was amazing.
Well, let's compare it then. So our little personal dashboard light as related to breakdowns. So that's the correlation. So the check engine light, your check engine light is coming on if you are suffering through constant irritability, snapping at people, or cynicism. Just check engine light. So is this just a fuse? Is this something where I just need a little attitude adjustment here? Or what's going on? Okay, my check engine light. Now, a low fuel light means that there's some sort of sleep debt or deprivation.
Hangry.
That could be there. I don't have that on there. Yeah.
Okay.
But low fuel, low energy. You are kind of numb where you just got the blahs today. If you have no joy at all, I mean, you're on empty.
That's called
Right? Think of that low fuel light. You're sleepy. You need some sleep. Kind of
charge.
Hungry, numbness, no joy, kind of like your low fuel light. Now, if you're overheating, oh dang, my thermostat busted, or I got a hole in my radiator or something like that. So your overheating light as a human is where you have an anxiety spike.
Okay.
Right? Panic attack. Your mind is racing all the time. Can't get sleep. Things like that. There's some overheating there. Brake warning. If you're having resentment, right? And this could be towards anybody or anything. Just stop, think about it, start breaking things down. If you have dread, DREAD, stop, break it down. Why? We have so little time here. So little time. So maybe dread does come up, but it shouldn't be a consistent pattern. There's something that's happening like that. You know, that's definitely a break warning. Stop. Another thing is avoidance. This is something that bleeds into all different kinds of areas of our life. Hey, I need to make a doctor's appointment, or I need to talk to that person appropriately about something that they're doing wrong. Last one, oil pressure. Mm-hmm. Your oil pressure light is coming on as a human if you are continually in isolation. Sometimes we all like to be alone. Adrienne calls it, she's not peopling.
Not peopling, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, I'm not doing humans today. Type of thing. I love that.
Absolutely.
Your oil pressure light is coming on if there is any type of trust crack in your life. Could be a spouse. Again, could be a partner. Could be a neighbor. And you keep swearing that ain't your dog's shit right there in my yard. I don't got cameras, but it looks about what your dog would put out. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, so like a breach of
trust cracks. Oh, maybe it was because like you didn't trust him and you may have dog's crack. All right, oil pressure, relationship friction, right? Oil pressure, you're supposed to have it a constant thing. So if it gets too much, things going to blow, right? That's where the pressure type thing for people aren't mechanically inclined. After all that, check engine light, low fuel light, overheating, brake warning, oil pressure. Another thing I have here in a bullet point, Kel, is which light is flashing for most people right now? Which one of those 5? Check engine with the irritability, low fuel, overheating because of anxiety, panic attacks, brake warning, people resentful, dreading things.
I think there's a lot of overheating and oil pressure. Anxiety, a lot of fear, a lot of dread. I guess that would be brake warnings too.
Yeah, the overheating's causing the oil pressure.
Right.
That's where you trust is cracking in our institutions, putting pressure in our relationships.
Mm-hmm. And people are changing, so relationships are changing because people are coming into different information, and sometimes some aren't perceiving it the same way as their partner, and you're getting.
Which one of those lights do you think that you ignore the longest?
Oh God, I can easily ignore isolation. That's very normal to me. And sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm isolating again. I have to really, really discern. Am I withdrawing, avoiding, isolating, or is it just I don't have much going on externally right now and I just need to do shit at the house?
Gotcha. The other one's under there, trust cracks, You don't really deal with people for very long that you can't trust, and then that relationship friction. You know who you are, and what you want, and what you're all about. And there's no friction there for very long. Let's put it that way.
Right. Yeah. No, I recognize stuff I won't put up with right away.
Hey, do you ever play bingo?
Yeah. Oh, I love bingo every Tuesday night. Dirty Birdie Bingo at the Polo Lounge, 7:00.
All right. Do you have a pen handy?
Yes.
So I'm going to say a little statement, and then you just hit a check mark. If you get 5 of them, you get bingo. Oh, having a little note here too, that if you hit 5 or more, you, Kel, are not lazy. You're overloaded.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
So you do it on your own. Don't call them out. Just say next after you make your answer.
I make my
privately. Doom scrolling at night, forgetting simple things, snapping at small stuff.
Next.
Procrastination with dread, thinking or using the phrase, I just don't care anymore. Caffeine replacing sleep, canceling plans repeatedly, avoiding money conversations.
Okay, I've got 5.
Resentment spikes, and numbness or / putting yourself on autopilot. All right, so you have 5, so that means that you are overwhelmed.
Interesting.
According to studies. It makes you think about stuff, though.
Yeah, it does.
I like that list, and a little bit of self-monitoring can go a long way. So anybody that's listening to the show, do that, write those down, use it for your own benefit. So lightning round here. So you're going to determine fairly quickly, is this a breakdown that somebody's having, or is it a breakthrough? Now, you can't say both, or it depends, right? So can't straddle the fence on this, especially this first one. Is this a breakdown or breakthrough if you're crying in the car?
Breakdown. That's a breakdown.
You wanted to say, well, it depends on.
No.
That's a breakdown. You're crying in the car. Yep. Yeah. But it could
lead to a
breakthrough.
It could lead to. But in and of itself, it's a breakdown.
That's right. And so I guess, again, that's the theme of the show. If you're having a breakdown, continue to break it down after you finish breaking down.
Right.
Yeah. So, all right.
Just hope you're not broken down in the broken down car.
Hey, if you do that, you better break it down. Just like, where am I? Is my phone charged? Do I get reception? Do I have roadside assistance? All that stuff. Believe me, after you have a breakdown, you start breaking it down. Just like that penguin. No, it's ice cream. It's ice cream. So, breakdown or breakthrough? Quitting your job impulsively.
That's hard. I'm going to say another one that's breakdown that leads to a breakthrough.
Breakdown or breakthrough when somebody is asking for help?
Breakthrough.
Breakdown or breakthrough? Deleting your social media.
I'm going to say that's a breakdown.
Okay, that's that one.
Because this one is a depends. Because if it's just a personal social media account and you just use it to scroll and keep up with friends and stuff, that can be a breakthrough. If you're just like, I've had enough of this, no more of this infighting bullshit, left, right, you, me, up, down, RD, if your feed is filled with a lot of that frictional crap. On the other hand, it can be a breakdown if you run a business, if you have any kind of like public persona where this is how people find out about you, communicate with you, get, things from you or give things to you. That can be a breakdown. If you're running a business and it's not going well, or you're trying to post content to get structure and following, it's slow, and you just go, I'm done with this shit, and you delete it. To me, that can be a breakdown.
As a business, though, you could get a separate account.
Right. Who've done that were trying to create something that was more than just a personal account, and they got fed up with it and just.
And you know what's interesting though is I've seen quite a few friends that have done that. They've hopped off and then eventually they come back on.
Come back. It's that's the problem with it is it's a central point of communication for a lot of people now. That's how they don't know phone numbers anymore. They use Messenger. Right. They don't, they post on somebody's wall. It's become this almost avoidant way of being available for contact.
Anybody sends me something in Messenger, I do not open it. I'll talk to you. communicate
Yeah.
with you, but if you send me an attachment, unless it's something that I know is coming in trust,
Well, sure. Or if it's
I want you to think about this.
Okay.
So breakdown or breakthrough, cutting off a friend.
that's another one that can go either way too. Sometimes,
But you have to
if
pick
it's
one.
yeah,
But you have to pick
I'm
one.
gonna say breakthrough, because usually by the time you get to that point, there's been enough breakdown that this person needs to leave your life. I'm gonna say breakthrough on
It's like
that one. 'Cause it's-
the key was a friend, assuming that they are a true friend. By the time you are cutting them off, it's not some momentary little
Right,
squabble,
right,
right?
right.
If you're cutting
And if
them off,
somebody flames out at you and cuts you off in a moment of breakdown, that can be a breakthrough too. Maybe you needed to let them go and you didn't want to be the one to cut it off. Or if
this is good
if you can't
clarification.
discuss it with me and try and work it out, and you feel the best course is to just cut me off with no explanation, then that's fine. That's on you. And I'll consider that a breakthrough and a release in my life that now opens space for somebody else.
Now, is this a breakdown or breakthrough? Taking a personal day off work.
That's totally a breakthrough. You may be breaking down because of work and you need a mental health day, but that's a breakthrough for you that you've taken that self-care responsibility and said, yeah, I can't take any more of this. I need 24 hours to chill out, get away from
Just
you
don't
people.
call in sick and then get caught at a Coldplay concert.
Just say, most companies don't even ask any. You get PTO, personal time off. They don't need an excuse. It's if it's not planned and you call out, that can be sick. But normally nobody cares. Like nobody's looking for reasons anymore.
Seems like employers have adjusted.
It got so bad where stupid companies thought they were entitled to your freaking life, and they needed to know every detail and have a doctor's note and all that bullshit. And employees finally said, enough of this. And there's now laws in place that prevent that type of prying.
Right.
It's none of their business. It's truly none of their business.
Breakdown or breakthrough if somebody starts some sort of therapy or coaching.
Oh, breakthrough. Absolutely. Oh, gosh, yeah.
Breakdown or breakthrough, changing your routine.
Breakthrough. To me, it's a breakthrough because I hate rigid routines.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that doesn't work. But if somebody is a routine person where that works for them and all of a sudden their routine starts to get chaotic, that can be a breakdown. Some people need that. I don't work well under rigid time-based things, but some people do respond well to that, and it can signal a potential breakdown if a normally ordered person suddenly starts doing things that are out of sync or out of character for their normal mode of operation. I'm always chaotic, so people never expect rigid consistency from me.
So we talked a little bit about the toxic positivity.
Yeah.
So just think of somebody going, I'm fine under that context, which could mean I'm overwhelmed, but I don't want to be a burden.
I don't want help, or I don't want a burden. This is my problem to deal with that nobody else needs to. I get that way. That's how I am.
Yeah. Let's go through some of these little phrases and think about the possibility of what they could really be saying. Or what would be an example of something that they may be going through if they go, I'm just tired.
Overwhelm, overcommitment, too many people pulling at them, needing things from them where they haven't had a chance to recharge on their own, not getting and giving too much and not receiving.
So many of those things that we mentioned at the front of the show. I'm running on debt. There could be some financial stress.
Sure.
I'm just tired.
Yeah. They could have an emotional vampire around them.
We've talked about this, if maybe a little bit easier said than done. But there's something about whenever I get just rock bottom, I'll just, for 2 days, off grid, just sleeping.
Yeah.
I need to
No
get my
shower.
energy back.
Yeah.
Well, I'll
yeah.
shower.
I don't. So I'll go a couple days where I
Maybe if Netflix
don't leave the house.
back in the day, Game of Thrones, we used to binge on that. So 2 days, 2 nights of recovery sleep. What do you think if somebody says it's not a big deal?
Minimization.
There you go. What if they say, I don't care?
Apathy.
I care
Yeah.
too much and I'm protecting myself.
Yep.
kind of like, having a little filter, there. When they say, I'll handle it, what do you think they mean?
I don't want anybody to see the messy process that this is going to take.
You almost said the same thing I did. I put down, I don't trust anyone, or I'm afraid to ask anybody else to do it.
Yeah, it's a perceptual thing.
What if somebody is continually going, I'm busy. I'm too busy. Avoidant for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And potentially having a life that's unprioritized. That's what I have, because when people say things like that, first of all, I try not to ask, but if I do ask, and if somebody says I don't have time, that's not true. What it is they're saying that what you're asking me, and I can understand it, but what you're asking me, I'm not willing to prioritize my time to make that happen. Right. And that's okay. Nobody's going to come out and say
nobody's
it.
Nobody's going to say that. Yeah,
that's a couple more. What if somebody says, I don't have the time?
Yeah, that to me that can be like a dismissive, avoidant thing. I don't have to. I don't want to hear it. I'm not interested. It's a way to justifiably blow something or somebody off, because people rarely question, I'm busy or I don't have time.
Could be a way also of avoiding coming to grips that they don't have some sort of boundary also.
Right.
Somebody says, I'm just stressed out. What are they really saying?
They're saying that I'm not properly managing my energy. I'm not feeding myself properly. I'm not regulating my central nervous system. I'm not exercising. I'm not doing something, and my body is reacting.
I'm carrying too much alone is what I have down. You don't have to be in a relationship with somebody to go out and seek help, no matter how much of an introvert you are. So the things I have here kind of closing up is our identity, our meaning. Crisis can show up as just being numb, being cynical. I can be cynical about some things. What's the point? Often triggered by a transition, loss, boredom, success without fulfillment. That's an interesting one. Success without fulfillment. Classic story of, say, getting to a level that people would dream of. They would give anything to be in your position, and you still don't feel fulfilled. Old identity fails. We talk about that copycat mask. When it doesn't fit anymore, as we get older, I can admit some of my best days have gone by, speaking of athletics and stuff like that. But that doesn't mean that I can't continue to forge new identities, new skill sets, different areas, redefining yourself and all these different things. Never stop growing. Now, let's go, what's the verdict? So this is a thumbs up or thumbs down. This is a no-brainer. Even though we're kind of bagging on breakdowns somewhat, but still pointing out that breakdowns are necessary when you can still break it down even further and build something better when there are breakdowns. And thumbs up or thumbs down, breakdowns are sometimes necessary.
Absolutely.
Thumbs up or thumbs down, most breakdowns come from avoidance.
Yeah, I will agree with that.
I saw you thinking about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you're avoiding facing. You're not necessarily avoiding some activity or some thing to do, but you're avoiding acknowledgement of a situation.
And it started out with the key word. If it said all, but it said most. Most breakdowns, not all breakdowns, come from avoidance. Most breakdowns come from avoidance. Yeah. That was a key word. Thumbs up or thumbs down, what's the verdict? If you rest, you're falling behind.
Oh, God, no. Thumbs down. Rest is critical. Our bodies are designed to
You don't need sleep. I only sleep for the day.
I'll sleep when I'm dead. I used to say that. I got by on 4 hours a night for decades. Long, long time.
I know. I was going on about 4 to 6 hours there for a long time. Just had to do it sometime.
Yeah. I mean, there were times I did all-nighters. I'd hang out in New York City till 4 a.m, drive home to Philadelphia, get in the shower, get dressed, and go straight to work.
Yeah.
Did that quite a bit.
All right.
Couldn't do it now on a bet.
Thumbs up or thumbs down, what's the verdict? Crying is weakness.
Crying?
Yes.
Or trying?
Crying is weakness.
No, absolutely not. Again, the biological reaction. It's a chemical reaction. Let it out. Your body needs to release.
Thumbs up or thumbs down? Boundaries ruin relationships.
Hell no. Boundaries cement relationships.
Gotta have boundaries.
They ruin the wrong relationships. Absolutely.
Right?
No, boundaries are critical in healthy relationships.
I think you'll like this one. Thumbs up or thumbs down? What's the verdict? Meaning is found, not made.
True.
I think so.
It can be. I mean, it can be a combination of both, but primarily it's discovered.
It almost qualifies for profound. Good little phrase there. Thumbs up or thumbs down? What's the verdict? Strong people ask for help all the time.
Yes. No, I wouldn't say all the time, but strong people ask for help.
I ask for help all the time. Honey, can you make me a sandwich?
Get your damn self. What do I look like?
That's why I said
Right?
that. I knew I was going to get a reaction out of it. So let's see if we could turn some lemons into lemonade without pretending that it's lemonade already.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we hit on this, but let's talk about how having stress combined with sleep loss worsens your impulse control and your decision making. Why does that happen?
Oh, no question.
Like,
Because
why
you get
though?
chemically depleted, and you can't respond or react properly.
What kind of
Mostly dopamine and serotonin, but also hormonally.
interesting?
Yeah. And you'll get high in cortisol. Your cortisol spikes. Stress is mostly a cortisol reaction, adrenaline, norepinephrine. So that spikes, and your chemicals to cope with it are depleted.
Do you think that in the context of avoidance, when people avoid things, that actually increases their anxiety over time?
Absolutely it does, because your subconscious knows what you're doing and what you're not doing and what you should be doing. And that's not external. Those feelings are self-generated. Like,
Right.
I should be doing this, I need to do that. That's all within you. It may come from external requests or whatever, but the pressure to do it,
Deadlines.
deadlines,
Deal with
or as
deadlines all the time.
boundaries.
Sometimes I push them back, but I hate doing it.
I do too. I do. I don't, if I've committed to something, I don't like to miss that commitment. Now, sometimes you can readjust where your, limits are.
Sometimes it got to be like that, homie.
It just is. It is what it is.
Do you think or talk about how having connection and support with someone else anytime that you need to recover or tap into resilience, it seems like it's a no-brainer, but talk about the why when you have connection with other people to tap into for support that just improves your recovery and your resilience when you are suffering from a breakdown and then coming out of it.
For the most part, other people can offer a perspective you're not seeing that can help you, give you more options.
Those blind spots again.
They can offer support. They can offer empathy, compassion, advice, sometimes just holding space, letting you vent, not trying to solve when you're so busy trying to solve everything. Sometimes you don't want more input like that. You just want somebody to listen to your energy release.
I have a little triage checklist. So if somebody's going through a breakdown is hitting, right? Little strategies. One show that we did, I think it was on filters, but having this little checklist where in the moment, just breathe. So when a breakdown hits, I'll comment and then you talk about why it's important or why you disagree. When a breakdown hits, just pause and breathe. Downshift your nervous system. Talk about that. Why is that important?
Because pretty much everything is based on, central nervous system regulation and having that balance of the proper hormones, the proper brain chemicals, the proper neurology, proper nutrition, all working in concert. It's all about regulation.
This is like the classic count to 10.
Yeah. Take 3 deep breaths. Count to 10. Because it takes about 90 seconds for that initial chemical shitstorm to dissipate.
So now when a breakdown hits, what do you think about name it and claim it? For example, when a breakdown hits to yourself, I'm not talking about a public announcement, but you name it to yourself, just I'm overwhelmed or I'm ashamed, I'm scared, I'm exhausted. Why is that important that a person pauses to do that?
Yeah, name it and claim it. Name it is crystallize it in your mind. What's actually happening here? What do I feel? What is this? And then claim it is find it in your body. Where do you feel it in the body? And actually do a body scan, feet, ankles, shins, calves, knees, thighs, all the way up, and go, okay, where do I feel this, whatever it is, pressure, energy, pain, however your body responds to this type of thing, and locate it and then acknowledge it. Go, okay, yeah, I feel this pain in my chest, or I feel this pressure in my gut.
No, and you don't think about it because it could be something where it's not necessarily like pain, but your heart actually sometimes aches. It just feels like it hurts. Pressure. And then there's sometimes where you have the
frog
infamous
in your throat,
the lump in your throat.
Uh-huh.
And there's a difference between having kind of a frog in your throat and a lump in your throat. A lump in your throat it's a different emotion that's going on, you know?
Yeah.
What do you think about if you have a breakdown, stabilize your basics, drink some water, get something to eat, maybe a power nap in your car, get some movement, walk around.
What would a 5-year-old want? Think about what would a 5-year-old want in this moment? Because you're really, at that point, you're dealing with your inner child. Just go, okay, if I was 5 years old, what would I want right this minute?
Go back to the basics.
Whatever you first hear, when you ask yourself that, okay, if I were 5 years old, what would I want right now? And whatever first thing comes to your head, a hug, a drink, ice cream, pizza, whatever, do it. Indulge that.
I like this next one. It reminds me of the one conversation that we had. I think it was Crending, where people are doing silent walking. Well, basic thing to this one, if you do have a breakdown, reduce your inputs, which has to do with your phone, news, social media. Put your phone away and safely go on a walk. Keep your phone with you, but turn it off where you're isolating the world.
Yeah.
Sounds corny.
Listen to anything from you.
Track a butterfly, sit down.
I mean, a lot of times when we say that, especially in the spiritual community, go to nature. You think, Christ, I got to go to the local park and sit by the river and get in the car and go do that. No. Your backyard is nature. Sitting on the grass, sitting next to a tree.
Get up on your roof.
Up on your roof. Anywhere outside is in nature.
Or though, don't go up there. If you're 84.
Oh yeah.
I wouldn't go up there.
No, don't get on the roof if you're
smart. Next one, if you have a breakdown with all the other things, pause and breathe. Name it, claim it. Stabilize with your basics, water, food, sleep, move around, go out, turn off your phone. The next step is to come up, maybe on your walk, without your phone on. You're going to come up with the smallest actionable move. Depending on the circumstances, there's a myriad of things that could be. Mm-hmm. But again, if you had a breakdown, sorry to always lean on this one, but I just had this argument, with whoever. One small step could be you being the first person to say, hey, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for my part. One small step towards, if you're in financial ruins, right, through credit card debt. Step number one is getting one of these paid off. So what's the lowest one? What's that number? Start breaking it down.
Yep.
Next, when a breakdown hits, after you've gotten through that step of the smallest actionable move, next step, get support.
Yeah.
One call. Text this to a safe person in that situation. There's this old phrase out, check the fruit on the tree. So whatever advice you're going to get, if you're going to get financial advice, get it from somebody that's done very well. If you're going to be getting relationship advice, talk to somebody in a couple that has their stuff together.
Yeah. Never life you wouldn't want to live.
Yeah. Now you can get advice from different people, but make sure it's with the visible fruit on the tree. Last thing, if you have a breakdown, delay big decisions. No major choices when you're flooded with all kinds of stuff. No major choices. No, delay those big decisions. Okay.
Yep.
What do you think about that list? Would you sign off on that, Kel?
Absolutely.
Right on.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Now, here's scripts that we're talking about boundaries. So a simple, repeatable script when you're trying to establish some boundaries with somebody. We just kind of talked about this. I don't have time for that. How about this? Instead of saying I don't have time for that, I can't commit to that.
Yeah.
If you like the person, don't say this being disingenuous, but you say, I can't commit to that right now.
Right.
But give me a couple of weeks. I'll get back to you. And then make sure that you have the ethics and you do follow up. Otherwise, just leave it at, I can't commit to that.
Let me check my schedule and get back to you.
And you do this. I can't do X, but I can do Y.
Yeah.
Right? I can't do the whole thing. I can do this
part.
That's nice and gracious. Another script, I need time to think. I'll answer you by this date. You don't have to immediately turn them down. Be sincere about this stuff. Kel said this to me before. That doesn't work for me. That's blunt, but you're not BSing them saying, I don't have the time for that.
Yeah.
I'd rather have somebody say, that doesn't work for me, than somebody say, I don't have time for that.
Right, right.
It's kind of saying the same things and maybe semantics dancing around it, but.
Or worse, like sort of committing. Well, oh yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And then not being able to commit or follow through. Giving people that hope or opening that tab that there's a maybe for them instead of, if you know you're not going to do this, just say, yeah, that's not going to work for me. Sorry.
And what do you think about this one? I think you're going to like this. What if it's a tense moment? This looks like a work type of situation.
Okay.
What do you think about, I'm not available for that conversation in this tone?
That works in relationships too. Absolutely. Like you're with some narcissist.
Something where for sure an equal, a colleague,
Yeah.
but even appropriately read the room, but for a boss to appropriately stand up for yourself. Like, hey, Joe, you're getting a little bit out of bounds here. I'll talk to you, but I'm not available for that conversation in this type of tone.
In this tone, it's your kid.
I like that.
Yeah,
it's stern and articulate.
It's a very mature way to shut somebody down without going, hey, what the fuck do you think you are?
So tool number 3, a 3-step relationship repair. It's a little micro process here. 1, 2, 3. Bada boom bing. First, like, own your part. Hey, I came in hot, or I shut down, I avoided this or whatever. Just own whatever part, and even ask, right? Golly, if you really don't think that you did anything wrong and you're in an argument, just like ask your significant other, hey, like, I'm trying to figure out what part of this is mine. So can you tell me, like,
what did I do wrong?
What did I do, or where did I go wrong? And then they'll tell you normally. Name the impact, right? This is classic stuff, right? That probably made you feel like this. Where you're not saying, this made me feel like this.
Right.
Or that's just bad stuff. When you did this, or when you said this, I felt this. You keep the you word out.
Right.
I think it's a second sight class. And then the micro repair for the relationship is ask and then take some sort of action. Right? What do you need right now? Like right now, what do you need? I need you to shut up. Okay. It happens.
I need to slap you across the face.
I'm going to charge you for that. $20. You can slap me for $20.
There you go.
Next time it's 100. You got a pretty good slap. Guaranteed tool number 4 is this for kind of financial panic. Stop the bleeding. Stop discretionary spending for 7 days. Whatever you say, I have this up for 7 days, just like tie it up, nothing. Get reality, right? Breaking it down, right? We're breaking this down. Get reality. List all your balances, your minimum payments, due dates. As adults, you got to do this eventually.
Well, what happened was with the advent of online banking, people stopped reconciling their checking accounts, and they wanted it that way.
These billions and billions every year.
Bank balance all the time, and I don't anymore.
But protect your essentials, your housing, utilities, food, transportation. Negotiate one call for somebody that you want to ask to negotiate for hardship options. It could be utility company, creditor, whatever. Have a weekly cash plan mapped out. And then again, one action today. Are you going to sell something at Kel's garage sale?
Yep.
Are you going to return something that you have never used? cancels a subscription, you know, maybe pick up some quick income by working a day or two, you know, a week, something like that. So a 7-day identity reset challenge. Last thing here, Kel. This is for getting back to your identity. Day 1, ask yourself, what identity am I clinging to that's breaking? It's breaking, and I'm clinging to it.
That's a great question.
That's so good. I love that. And day 2, what do I actually value now? Because our values change. Diaz was talking about corporate stuff, and our values change. Values change in businesses. Values change with ourselves personally. Day 3, identify after asking yourself, what's one boundary that I need
to enforce?
Well, you're figuring out your identity. So what am I clinging to that's breaking? Day 1, what do I actually value now as compared to, say, the person I used to be? Day 3, what's one boundary? Day 4, what's one habit that would stabilize me? Day 5, what's one relationship I need to repair? That's big boy britches right there.
Or rescind.
Yes.
Repair or let go of.
Day 6, what's one fear that I'm avoiding? There's something about confronting your fears, whether it's speaking in front of people or reconciling your bank account. It's so easy with QuickBooks, people. Day 7, what does the next version of me do this week? I think that started.
That's a good one.
Day 1 and day 7, those are probably my favorites.
Yeah.
What identity am I clinging to that's breaking right now? And then day 7, what does the next version of me do this week? And everything in between will lead you to that. I like that. All right, Kel, let's wrap it up. What are your final thoughts on today's episode of What's the Matter with Breakdowns?
I thought this was good because it's stuff all of us deal with every day, and especially with the breakdown of current society overall. That's clear that that's happening and needs to a point. That's triggering, I think, a lot of individual breakdowns in people as they see all these allegedly permanent structures crumbling and deal with day-to-day frustrations of things failing and things that we just depend on and expect that we're realizing are not permanent. So that makes you question yourself. If these, 100,000 whatever year structures can falter, what if my little 58-year life is and identity architecture is a tough thing. Most of us are conditioned to be one thing. I was pretty fortunate because I never fell into that trap. I watched my parents be one thing and cement their identities in it so that when they wanted to do anything outside of it, they felt trapped. Because this is who I am. No, don't ever declare that.
Sounds like
that's going to change.
Sounds like a Greek tragedy. Love it. Episode 46. Thank you for listening to What's the Matter podcast. G-Man and Kel. Today we talked about breakdowns. That is failure. There's deconstruction, boundary signals, sometimes an identity reset. We roasted avoidance athletes, martyrs, decoded the I'm fine lies we tell ourselves, gave you guys some real tools as we normally do, triage checklists, boundary scripts, relationship repair, and first steps for financial panic. And that 7-day identity reset challenge we just turned you on to turn those lemons into lemonade without even pretending. I think that we're going to be back for episode 47 of What's the Matter with Nomads. Nomads, Kel, we're exploring the hows and whys of nomads, past and present, from survival, tradition of freedom, identity, and that modern digital nomad life. That's going to be fun. Why do some people need roots while others need movement? And what does that lifestyle reveal about human nature, purpose, and belonging? Till then, be vigilant, be kind, and always remember that what you say matters. This is G-Man for Kel. See ya!